Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Arizona.
It's the day for which Patrick Corbin has waited 16 months. Today, on this Independence Day at Chase Field in Phoenix, the Diamondbacks ace lefty and all-star 2 years ago makes his much-anticipated return to a major league mound. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball brought to you by Sanderson Ford. For our servicemen and women, this one's for you. Patrick says this is what he's been working toward. His comeback from Tommy John surgery has just added to the 4th of July atmosphere here. It's game 81. We are halfway through the season here on Fox Sports Arizona. And good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. A very happy 4th of July to Diamondback fans everywhere. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. It's the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. It's the third of a four-game series, but let's be clear here. This is no ordinary night at the ballpark. It's Independence Day, a big crowd on hand tonight. And ace Patrick Corbin makes his return from Tommy John surgery. He starts tonight for the Diamondbacks.
When I go out there, I'm able to throw every pitch now. They wouldn't call me up here if they didn't think I could throw everything that I was able to do before, and we'll see how it goes. Everything to me feels great and pretty much normal, as close as it can be. And I think the next step is just getting out there and getting the major league experience against these hitters again in this atmosphere.
Bob, he was an all-star for the Diamondbacks 2 years ago.
And rightfully so. Had an unbelievable start to the season in 2013. At one point was 11-1. Just devastating stuff, especially that slider. We're looking forward to see Patrick back out on the mound tonight. You think about it, ball players, ever since the time they're in Little League, you spend the 4th of July at the ballpark. Last year was probably the first time Patrick was not at the ballpark on the 4th of July. You know this means a lot to him.
Getting set to take the mound for the first time since September of 2013, Jared Zoltalamakia, his catcher tonight. It's the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. Independence Day, a full house here at the ballpark. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Patrick Corbin is back. First pitch coming up. And for their lefty ace, Patrick Corbin, his comeback from Tommy John surgery about to begin. We honor America on this July 4th. Here's the voice of Chase Field, Mr. Chuck Drago.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and please remove your hats. Please direct your attention to the field as we honor the United States of America and pay tribute to our veterans, active duty, and retired men and women of our armed services. Presenting our colors tonight, please welcome the Luke Air Force Base Honor Guard, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Colorado Rockies invite you to join in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed by Tech Sergeant Markia Giles from the U.S. Air Force.
Dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Year-old left-hander, an all-star 2 seasons ago. This is his moment, his first step on a major league mound since September 27th of 2013. After missing all of last season following Tommy John surgery, he'll face the Colorado Rockies on this Independence Day here in downtown Phoenix. An already festive atmosphere made even more exciting by the return of the Diamondbacks lefty ace. He is your Arizona Ford starting pitcher.
Yeah, I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. It's been a long time, 16 months since surgery, and this is the day I've been preparing myself for, and I've been working hard to get back. The training staff and the coaching staff here has done a great job in making sure I feel healthy and making sure that they're confident in me to go out there and compete. And I know I'm ready to go out there and get the job done. And
The numbers on Patrick Corbin 2 seasons ago: 14 wins. He crossed the 30-start 200-inning plateaus and was a National League All-Star. We are told he will be on a 90-pitch limit here tonight.
And Patrick properly thanked the medical staff, the trainers, the doctors, the coaching staff to put the program together to get him back to this point. Ryan DePanthlo, a lot of extra hours, a lot of extra time developing the program to get Patrick back to this point.
Charlie Blackmon, the leadoff man for the Rockies, is quickly down 0-2. Blackmon hitting just under .270 with 11 home runs. His leadoff homer in last night's game has been his only hit of the series. Paul Schreiber is our plate umpire tonight. Diamondbacks trying to make it 3 in a row against Colorado in this series. A bouncer to second, and it rolls into right center, and Blackmon's aboard, a base hit. Just by a diving Chris Owings, a leadoff single. The lineup for Walt Weiss and his Colorado Rockies.
The only lefty in the lineup just hit. Charlie Blackmon out in center field. DJ LeMahieu at second base. Troy Tulowitzki at shortstop. Nolan Arenado at third base. Willeen Rosario at first. Drew Stubbs out in left field tonight. Nick Hundley doing the catching. Brandon Barnes out in right field. And right-hander David Hale on the mound for the Rockies.
So Patrick Corbin immediately works from the stretch to DJ LeMahieu, the Rockies second baseman. Watch out for Blackmon down there. 21 stolen bases on the year. There's a strike, 0-1. LeMahieu at .293 and 4 homers. As recently as June 11th, he was hitting .351 for the year. But he's been in a free fall ever since. There's a strike. He's ahead 0-2.
Well, you would imagine the biggest problem for Patrick in the early going is going to be to keep his emotions under control, keep that adrenaline under control. High strike that time to LeMahieu up around the belt, jumping ahead 0-2.
He said this week he's feeling ready to go. Feels like his stuff is there, just as good as before the surgery. Jake Lamb at third. Chris Owings, and there's the double play ball. They roll it behind Corbin.
LeMahieu hit it hard, which was a good thing. He needed to have a hard hit ball to start that 5-4-3 double play. A couple of long throws to complete that one. Lamb to Chris Owings at second, and then CO relaying on to Goldie for the out.
2 down now for Troy Tulowitzki. Tulo at 328 home runs. He's 4th in the National League in hitting. There's a ball up 1-0. Tulowitzki, a pair of hits in the series, both singles. His hitting streak now up to 16 games. During this 16-game hitting streak, he's had only 2 extra base hits. And Patrick a little erratic here. He's behind 3-0. There's something to watch for, Bob, to tell us how Patrick might or might not be feeling out there?
Well, like I said, early on in the ball game, I'm sure he just wants to get his nerves under control, get into that strike zone consistently. Don't go anywhere too low. But I think as we move into this ball game, into the teeth of the ball game, just keep an eye on his mechanics. Make sure he's not doing anything unusual. I'm sure that's what the training staff and Mike Harkey are keeping a close eye on, to make sure that fatigue doesn't cause him to miss his mechanics somehow.
Saltalamacchia hangs on to the foul tip, and it's full 3-2. Great to get Tulowitzki right here and avoid that extended first inning. He'll be watching every pitch. He's at a limit of 90 tonight. Take a look at the Diamondbacks around their lefty Patrick Corbin. It's our Mid-First Bank starting defense.
See the Peralta out in left field. A.J. Pollock in center. Yasmani Tomas in right field. It'll be Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield with Chris Owings and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching tonight for lefty Patrick Corbin.
Fly ball, right field corner. Yasmani Tomas up against the fence, and that's a fair ball. Tulowitzki will jog in his second with his 19th double.
Number one, I can't believe that ball stayed fair. And what a tough play for Tomas, getting over there in that corner right by the foul pole. You can see the fence kind of juts out there.
Yeah, fair ball.
Yeah, that's a good call by the umpires. Tough play for Yasmani trying to climb the fence out there. You see, clearly comes back and hits in fair territory before ricocheting around.
Crew chief Fielden Culbreth, the first base umpire, running up the line to make that call. So Tulo's at second, 2 down for Nolan Arenado. Ball one. Arenado 283, 24 home runs. He leads the major leagues with 68 RBIs, just 2 ahead of Goldie. He's also second in the majors in extra base hits. Tulo has now hit safely in 17 straight. Roller to Ahmed. Welcome back, Patrick Corbin. Diamondbacks coming up. In a 16-pitch first inning, and now the Diamondbacks will face your Arizona Ford starter for the Rockies. It's David Hale, the 27-year-old right-hander. He lasted less than 5 innings when he faced the D-backs last week at Coors Field. Here's hitting coach Turner Ward.
He's a fastball, changeup, slider. I mean, he has a little cut on his fastball with some sink. I mean, we just about can't see anybody these days without some sink. So. He's not a high velo guy, but he's a guy who relies on his command.
The numbers on David Hale. He pitched mostly out of the bullpen in Atlanta last year, but now in Colorado and struggling, Bob, to hold on to his spot in the Rocky rotation.
Anytime a guy relies on a sinker, cutter, changeup combination, it's going to be key to keep the ball down, something David Hale's had some issues with this year. He does throw an occasional slider to the right-handed hitters, but you're going to see a lot of fastballs, a lot of changeups.
A.J. Pollock set to lead it off. A.J. 303 and 10 homers. That 10th home run came here Thursday night in the series opener. Arenado has had a tough series. It caroms to Tulowitzki, but Pollock beats it out. The two-time Gold Glover down there has had a series that he'd like to forget so far.
Always a dangerous proposition to play in, taking away the bunt, especially when a guy like A.J. Pollock who can turn around an inside fastball. This one just eats up Arenado off the thumb of the glove, ricochets right to his shortstop, but Tulowitzki didn't have enough time to get the out at first.
E5 puts Pollock aboard for David Peralta. Arenado opened up this series with a rare 2-error ball game. That's his third of the series. David just under 270 with 7 home runs. David doubled and scored a run in last night's win over the Rockies. And a pair of hits in Thursday night's win in the series opener, including a 2-run triple.
Big crowd here at Chase Field tonight. You'd love to see them get emotionally involved early in the ballgame the way they did last night on that overturned call at second base. That was a rowdy crowd here at the ballpark last night.
Yeah, we are packed here tonight on 4th of July. Fans wearing their D-backs red, white, and blue. There goes Pollock. The throw from Hundley is not in time, and A.J.'s in there with his 17th stolen base. Hey, he was safe. Yeah, that's well done.
Very nice. A little bit of a stutter start there. Once again, had such a big jump. He almost thought about stopping, but continued on his route to second base and easily beats Nick Hundley's throw to second.
A 1-0 count on Peralta with Pollock at second. Two balls and no strikes. Goldie on deck. America's first baseman on Independence Day. It's got some nice synergy there. Reno, a lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks tonight against righty David Hale.
A.J. Pollock leading it off in center field. David Peralta in left field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Yasmani Tomas cleaning up out in right field. Jake Lamb at third base. Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching tonight. Chris Owens and Nick Ahmed make up the double play combo at second and short. And of course, lefty Patrick Corbin on the mound.
A 4-pitch walk to Peralta, and here comes America's first baseman. There he is, Paul Goldschmidt. Everybody loves him. He's leading the major leagues in hitting. 354. And two behind the Rockies, Nolan Arenado for the Major League RBI lead.
That old saying about the early bird catching the worm. Well, Paul Goldschmidt has been an early bird this year. In the first inning, he's hitting .385 with 5 homers, 3 doubles, and has driven in 15 runs.
He homered off David Hale last week at Coors Field.
Take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game. We've had some pretty good luck talking about food. Let's eat and let's eat some more. Let's just keep stuffing ourselves. Homers and game winners and scoring 5 or more runs and in-game fireworks. We know there's a great post-game fireworks show. Let's see some fireworks in-game.
So basically, you just want to go all Kobayashi, Joey Chestnut on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Although Joey Chestnut was, I believe, upset today at Coney Island.
Throw that pitch again. We will see some fireworks in the early going. A backup slider on that inside part of the plate. Not where he wanted to throw it, but got away with it.
He's ahead 0-2. A.J. Pollock, the runner at second. David Peralta at first. Still nobody out. A ball and 2 strikes on Paul Goldschmidt. Two and two. David Hale, acquired by Colorado in January from the Braves for a pair of minor leaguers. Started against the D-backs last week at Coors Field. Gave up 5 runs on 8 hits in less than 5 innings. He also walked 3. Lost his previous start Monday at Oakland. Surrendered 3 home runs. 2-2 pitch. It's full once again. Paul Goldschmidt down 0-2, and he works it back full.
Patience and the confidence that you have in your own strike zone recognition to be able to consistently go from 0-2 to 3-2. Just amazing for Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, there have been 2 or 3 pitches in this sequence since he was 0-2 that a lot of guys would have swung at and gotten themselves out.
This guy leads the National League in walks and on base percentage. Foul right in front of Andy Green. Take a look at the Rockies around David Hale, our mid-first bank starting defense for Colorado.
Paul Weiss loading up with right-handed hitters. Drew Stubbs in left, Charlie Blackmon in center, Brandon Barnes in right field. It'll be Nolan Arenado and Troy Tulowitzki on the left side of the infield. DJ LeMahieu and Willeen Rosario on the right side. Nick Hundley doing the catching for righty David Hale.
Two on, nobody out, 3-2 to Goldie.
This is what he'll do. Foul off the tough ones. Wait for that pitcher to make a mistake that you can really drive. Pitch out there on the outside corner at the knees. Goldie just fouls it off to the right side, forces Hale to come in there one more time.
There go the runners. Ball 4, they're loaded up. An error and back-to-back walks have loaded the bases for Yasmani Tomas. Steve Foster, the pitching coach.
Probably a little too early in the game to go to a 6-man infield, but I think this is just a meeting to talk it over with David Hale. Let him regroup a little bit out there, hit that reset button. He is in deep trouble here in the first inning.
Right fielder, number 24, Yasmani Tomas.
Chance to put up a big number in the first inning on the 4th of July, and here's Yasmani. 3-11 and 4 homers. Took an 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts last night. A.J. Pollock is the runner at third. David Peralta aboard at second. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Nobody out for Tomas. Diamondbacks had their opportunities last night against Colorado. They were 0 for 3 with the bases full. There's a strike, 0-1.
Tonight's cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light, highest batting average, batting fourth in the lineup. Bryce Harper is the only player to have higher numbers in that cleanup spot.
Harper homered today in D.C. in the 4th of July with a red, white, and blue bat. Stars and stripes.
I think Chris Bryant homered for the Cubs, so 4 hitters, you got to go deep.
He hit 2, in fact, for the Cubbies. Chris Bryant. So it figures Tomas is due here, right?
That's the job description. You're the cleanup hitter, and there's a mess out there on the bases. Clean it up.
He's ahead 2-1. David Hale really fighting it out there. 17 pitches so far, only 6 of them strikes. Most of those were foul balls hit by Goldie. Paul Schreiber grants time. The Sharks are circling. You just get that sense you're one big hit away from a first inning firecracker. A bouncer in the hole. Arenado. They get the force on Goldschmidt, and that's it. He takes out the Mayhew. Pollock scores, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Goldie coming in hard at second.
And then clean, looked like a double play. Arenado got the ball quickly to LeMahieu in good shape, but Goldie, you'll notice his line to second base. He didn't go straight into the bag. He was going where the fielder was going to be when he tried to complete that throw to first base. LeMahieu walked right into the path of the sliding Paul Goldschmidt.
Fielder's choice and an RBI for Tomas. Puts David Peralta at third. Yasmani aboard at first. 1 out, and here's Jake Lamb. Jake hitting .282 with a pair of homers. Had a big night here last night.
When the Diamondbacks continue to take advantage of opponents' mistakes, that was their 38th unearned run this season. That's third most in the major leagues.
What you got to do, right? Make them pay.
Oh, yeah. Take advantage of every mistake by the opposition.
Right center field. And it drops in there. Here comes Peralta. RBI single for Lamb, and it's 2-0 Diamondbacks.
About getting the crowd emotionally involved early in the ballgame. This is a good way to go about it. Little jam shot off the bat of Jake Lamb over the infield, just in front of the outfield. Diamondbacks take a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the first.
Jared Saltalamacchia. Salty just under $150 for the year, pair of homers. Tonight his 15th start behind the plate for the Diamondbacks this year. Oh, 0-2.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Tomas, the runner at second, Lamb at first. David Hale laboring here. 23 pitches, still more balls than strikes. A 1-2 misses, and Salty with that Chuck Norris bat back even 2-2. This is Chuck approved. Got the Chuck Norris label on the bottom of that bat handle. And of course, we know which face Chuck Norris has in the bottom of his bats.
Goldies.
Just setting you up there for one of your favorites.
Thank you.
There it is. 2-2. It's full. Chris Owings is on deck.
You know, we've gushed about Goldie and his ability to go from 0-2 to 3-2, but Jared Saltalamacchia, you know, in limited playing time has shown the same kind of ability. Fall behind in the count and foul off the tough ones, take the ones out of the zone, and ultimately finds himself in a full count here in this at bat.
You hang one of this guy and he will crush it. Swing and a miss. 2 down, the strikeout, the first for Hale. It brings up Chris Owings.
Hale went away from his typical sinking fastball to a lefty, throws a four-seamer, a little bit elevated up there around the belt.
Well, CO coming off a 3-hit night last night. He's got 4 hits in the series. 239 and 2 home runs. Swinging at the first pitch, 0-1. Strikeouts have been an issue. 11 strikeouts in his last 20 at bats. Patrick Corbin staked to what so far is a 2-0 lead. After a 16-pitch first inning, he worked around 2 base hits.
He's hoping to get it at bat in this bottom half of the inning.
You better believe it. High fly ball, left center field. Stubbs and Blackman over there. Charlie Blackman calls him off. And the Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get 2. Yasmani Tomas, the RBI fielder's choice, and then Jake Lamb, the RBI single. And after 1 on Independence Day, it's 2-0 D-backs.
Lead. It was announced a couple of days ago that he would work with Jared Saltalamacchia tonight. Chip Hill said, I want him to keep it simple. He'd like Saltalamacchia to just throw the fingers down there, call that pitch, and Patrick to throw it. He said, I don't want him shaking him off a lot. I don't want him overthinking, guys.
Don't think you can only hurt the ball club. Willeen Rosario. I guess there is something to be said, Bob, for just simplifying the whole thing, because obviously the emotions are just going to be running wild with Patrick.
He's probably got enough on his mind, and to be quite honest, at this stage of his comeback, he probably doesn't know what's working best for him tonight. Usually the catcher's the first guy that will discover what's working and what's not working, and as a pitcher, sometimes you have blinders on. You feel like everything is working well.
Had the surgery on his left elbow last March 25th, performed by Dr. James Andrews in Pensacola. He repaired a partial tear of the ulnar collateral ligament, and he's back today after 16 months. Ahead of Rosario, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, Chip Hale says the Diamondbacks right now don't expect Patrick to be at the top of his form, certainly. But they do expect him to compete, and that's never been an issue with Patrick Corbin. 20 pitches so far, 13 strikes.
Well, we know how we keep track of pitchers and what they do on 4 days of rest. Patrick's had 27 starts at 4 days of rest, 7-10 record. 5 days rest, 15 starts, 7-4 record. On 6 or more days, 7 starts, a 6-1 record. And on 645 days of rest, which is what he's working on tonight, we'll have to wait and see.
Called strike 3, his first strikeout. Rings up Rosario for the first out here in the second.
A good example in that at bat of his fastball command. He came inside on Willeen Rosario. He elevated and then comes back with a belt high fastball inside part of the plate. Just freezes a real good right-handed hitter.
Drew Stubbs is up now. Boy, he was behind on Tulowitzki 3-0 back in that first inning, and ever since then his stuff has been really sharp right there. Throwing strikes. Stubbs at 111 and 2 homers, recalled from AAA Albuquerque just before Thursday's series opener. He's been in the minor league since May 20th.
I'll tell you, not exactly what he wanted to do, but that's an effective pitch in the grand scheme of things. A left-handed pitcher that will show a righty that I'm going to come in there, and I'm going to come in there really hard when I do. Made Drew Stubbs move his feet to jump out of the way of that inside pitch. Could open up that outside corner.
Missed with it there, and it's 2-1. That's always been, for me anyway, Bob, one of his great strengths, Patrick Corbin. He has absolutely no fear when it comes to coming inside to right-hand hitters. Behind 3 balls and a strike. 4 minor league rehab outings this spring, 1 at Single A Visalia, and 3 with the Double-A Mobile Bay Bears. Popped him up, foul ground near the Rocky dugout. Salty and Goldie. 2 down. The starts at Mobile for Patrick, the ones you really look to, and he looked good. Pitching for Robbie Hammock down there, 1-0, a 2.76 ERA. He worked 16 1/3 innings for Mobile, gave up 13 hits, walked 5, had 11 strikeouts.
Yeah, everybody in the organization ecstatic to see Patrick making this start today, with the possible exception of Robbie Hammock.
Exactly right. He lost his ace, didn't he? He's got some pretty good ones down there, though. Nick Hundley just under 300 this year and 6 home runs. He has 1 hit in each game of this series. He doubled Thursday night. Corbin not messing around, jumps ahead 0-2. Fly ball right field, right to Tomas. A 1-2-3 second, a shutdown inning for Patrick Corbin. He's got a 2-0 lead. two special nights with us this year. Saturday, July 25th, you can pick up the Randy Johnson Hall of Fame bobblehead. And then on Saturday, August 8th, join us for our pregame ceremony as we retire Randy's 51. All fans in attendance will get a commemorative T-shirt courtesy of Fry's Food Stores. Get your tickets for both of these days right now at dbacks.com. And those are 2 days you will not want to miss. That's where the 51 will go, August 8th. What a night that's going to be. Nick Ahmed leads off the second against David Hale. 2-0 Diamondbacks. A good start to this Independence Day here in downtown Phoenix. Nick Ahmed, 237, 6 home runs. Had a base on balls in a pinch hit appearance in the 10th inning last night. Patrick Corbin. I guess the comeback will really be complete when he has an at bat.
He gets a hit.
Don't forget Jose Fernandez of the Marlins made a return from Tommy John surgery this week and homered in his game. There's a strike. Homered, in fact, off Matt Cain, who was also coming back from an injury in that game. That was at Marlins Park in Miami.
Well, I'm sure swinging the bat was part of Patrick's rehab as well. You have to do everything you're going to do once you're an active player again, and part of that is swinging the bat, getting bunts down. I'm sure he took some batting practice.
Short hop by Tulo. Patrick Corbin.
Pitcher number 46, Patrick Corbin.
Well, the pride of Clay, New York, went to high school in the upstate New York area. Pitched at Community College in Utica. Went on to pitch at Chipola Junior College on the Florida Panhandle. A second-round pick by the Angels in 2009, acquired by the Diamondbacks in a deadline deal 5 years ago. Patrick grew up a big Yankee fan in upstate New York, not too far from Syracuse, where he was a great basketball player, a really good athlete out there. Pops this one up. Hundley's out there. Arenado coming in. 2 down. Brings up the leadoff man, A.J. Pollock.
Center fielder, A.J. Pollock.
A.J. reached on an Arenado error, his third error of this series. Later stole a base and scored a run.
All we have to do is build a guy up before a series starts and
put the whammy on him.
Put the whammy on him.
Rockies go into the shift against Pollock. They have 3 defenders on the left-hand side. You see LeMahieu on the shortstop side of second.
He spent most of the first night of this series telling Shea Hillenbrand what a great third baseman Nolan Arenado was, and went out there and kicked the ball around a couple of times.
What were those guys talking about? We get that a lot. 1-1. I see you got yourself a toy over there.
Yes, I do. This is going to make a trip to Chicago soon.
Oh, that's for Jim Moroz, right?
Yes, indeed.
Now, that's good grandfather work out of you right there. Arenado snags that one. And that's the end of the second. We'll be back with Bob Brenly's toy collection in a moment. 2-0 Diamondbacks. introduced new from Pepsi. Pepsi Lemon, made with 2% real lime juice, a little bit of lime and a whole lot of flavor. You can pick up yours today, now available at your local retailer. Pepsi Lemon, brand new. Top third at Chase Field, Brandon Barnes leads it off against Patrick Corbin, making his return from Tommy John surgery, and he's got a 2-0 lead. And he's throwing strikes. There's strike one. Barnes 276 and 1 homer. He is 1 for 6 in the series, a single on Thursday. So I saw you picked up the granddaughter a little something.
Yeah, Gemma's been in bed probably for a good part of an hour now, so she's not watching. She's going to get this come Monday morning.
The Goldie Bleacher Creature.
Yeah, this is a great deal. $20, and all the money goes to Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Base hit for Barnes. He drops it in front of Tomas. A leadoff single, the third hit against Corbin.
Of course, when you have a 15-month-old, you've got to really analyze every toy to make sure there's not something that could come off, or asbestos, or lead-based paint, anything like that. And this Goldie doll is perfect.
It's a great-looking bleacher creature.
Yep.
And as you said, all the great work that Paul and his wife Amy do with Phoenix Children's Hospital. All the proceeds go to PCH. David Hale, the pitcher. He'll try and bunt Barnes over. Here comes Lamb from third. Bunts it foul up the first baseline.
See, I have an uphill battle because Gemma's parents, they live back there in Chicago, and her father, unfortunately, was a poor, misguided Cubs fan his whole life. So we've got to keep pushing America's first baseman ahead of Anthony Rizzo.
Rizzo's good, but
he's not America's first baseman.
Exactly. They have all kinds of different uniforms, I believe, on the Goldie Bleacher Creature, don't they? You can get the old logo.
Throwback purple stuff, yeah.
Get the black uniforms, the Sedona red. And now Hale's down 0-2. The fifth 0-2 count so far in 2+ innings for Patrick Corbin. 35 pitches, 25 strikes. A look to Stu Cole at third. And try and bunt on 0-2. Pulls back and chops it. Foul. Right through the wickets of Field and Culbreth down there, who did a good job getting out of the way of that one. Cubby's got some hops.
Good thing.
What's this? Quick feet. EY Senior wanted fair, but nope. Eric Young Sr. coaching down there at first. The mayor of Souvenir City.
It wasn't so much designed to pick the runner off first base right there. It was just an effort to see if Hale was going to pull the bat back again and try to slash on the 0-2 count like he did on that previous foul ball, or is he going to go ahead and bunt on the 0-2 count? I think he's slashing.
Tried it once, going to try and bunt this time. And he gets down one right in front of the plate. Saltalamacchia is on it. Barnes moves up. Mission accomplished for Hale. And that's the first out in the third.
Hey fans, tonight's broadcast of Diamondbacks baseball is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome you, especially on this Independence Day. We hope you're having a great one.
Our servicemen and women everywhere. And a lot of them with us here tonight at Chase Field. Active and retired. So Blackman at second, 1 away, or Blackman up, pardon me. Barnes at second, 1 away. Blackman single to lead off the ball game. Ball one.
Good speed with Barnes out there at second base. Diamondbacks outfielders, if a base hit gets grounded through the infield, they're really going to have to charge hard and get off a strong, accurate throw to have any chance to get Barnes at the plate.
He runs well.
Of course, the best way to combat that is don't let the batter hit the ball into the outfield. Oh, look at that slider. Man. Starts on the inner third, ends up off the plate, low and away.
That's a fair ball down the left field line. Barnes is going to come in and score. Blackman's got his second hit, an RBI double. And the Rockies are on the board. It's 2-1. Just snuck it in down there inside the bag.
Well, for a lefty against Patrick Corbin, that's a good approach. Let that ball get deep, even if it means you get jammed occasionally on a fastball. Blackman able to shoot that one just inside that third baseline down into the corner for David Peralta.
Here's DJ LeMahieu, who hit into a double play his first time up. Well, here we are on the 4th of July. Patrick Corbin threw off a pitcher's mound for the first time this spring on March 24th. Part of the long road back. It was 1 day shy of the anniversary of his Tommy John surgery. Just 20 fastballs in a bullpen session, but that was the day where he really said he saw some light at the end of the tunnel. And now here he is. Ahead of LeMahieu, 0-2. It's a long rehab road, too. It's measured in incremental progress. Light throwing last fall. Stayed in Phoenix through October to rehab before going home to New York for a few months. Then shut it down for a couple of months. Came back in January. Ken Crenshaw there on the left. The trainer, Ryan DePanfilo, his assistant on the right. You long toss from flat ground from 105 feet. Then you move to 120 feet. And back to 60 feet on flat ground. Eventually you get up on a bullpen mound. And here he is. LeMahieu bangs it into right, a base hit. They're going to wave Blackman home. Here's the throw from Tomas. And it is not in time. 2-2 ball game. DJ LeMahieu ties it up.
We talk about the long road back. And this is what the numbers look like for Patrick Corbin in his rehab outings. June 8th at Visalia, just pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 4 runs on 4 hits. I'm sure very discouraging for the first time out. But then on June 14th at AA Mobile, 4 2/3. You see he was really good in the first 3 innings. That's when Patrick started to talk about the fatigue setting in. Obviously working his way back into game shape, getting his arm into game shape. Then June 20th, once again at Mobile, 5 2/3. Pretty much the same story. Really good early in the game, a little bit of fatigue after the 5th inning. And then June 26th at Mobile, his last tune-up, 6 innings, gave up 2 runs on 6 hits. All steps in the process. And the important thing is for a pitcher, especially a guy like Patrick Corbin, who is such a big part of the future of this organization, is to stay on track. Don't try to get too far ahead of yourself. Don't try to do too much. Just take the steps as they come and try to keep moving forward, and he's been able to do that.
1 out, LeMahieu at first after his RBI single has tied it. Here's Tulo, who doubled his first time up. And the double extended his hit streak to 17 games. Interesting thing about this inning for Patrick Corbin, we've mentioned how he's been, for the most part, throwing strikes out there. 46 pitches, 34 strikes. He was 0-2 to Brandon Barnes to lead off this inning, and Barnes singled and scored. He was 0-2 to LeMahieu, who got the RBI single to tie the ball game. 6 of the 11 batters so far have been up there on 0-2 counts. One and two on Tulowitzki. Independence Day at Chase Field, 4th of July. Hope you had a good one. Barbecue, grill, cookout, and settle back for some Diamondback baseball.
I took my idea. I was going to do that today. Couldn't find the red paint.
Great crowd on hand here tonight. Coming at you. Just missed it.
Tulo has an annoying habit of doing this, getting to 2 strikes and just fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch.
The great ones, it seems, always do.
Yeah, it's really amazing because a lot of them are borderline pitches, which would be very easy to put into play weekly. But as you said, the good hitters seem to be able just to get a piece and foul it off, not put it in play, just foul it off.
And you look up and it's a 10-12 pitch at bat, and they're still trying to get you out. One thing we've seen with Tulo has been a lack of power. Only 8 home runs this year. He hit 21 last season, 25 home runs the year before. Says you just can't force the power up there. And it's going to show up on its own.
Well, the Rockies offensively just disappeared over the last 6 ball games compared to the Diamondbacks. I mean, the Diamondbacks scored 3 times as many runs, twice as many hits. They're hitting over 100 points higher, double the amount of homers and extra base hits, and double the slugging percentage. Diamondbacks trending in a good direction. Rockies not so much.
They've out hit the Diamondbacks tonight, 5-1. 2-2 pitch is in the seats and out of play. There's another one. And this is what you don't want to see Patrick Corbin have to go through, because it drives up that pitch count. He's on a 90 pitch limit tonight. 50 pitches, 37 strikes. Mark Reed, the bullpen catcher, putting the hat backwards, and the phone is ringing down there from Mel Stottlemyre Jr. Randall Delgado creeping around out there now. Start to limber up, stretch out. There goes LeMahieu. Tulowitzki skies one to deep left field. Peralta at the track. And he's got it for out number 2. LeMahieu scampers back to the bag. Brings up Arenado.
Finally gets Tulo to put one in play. It was a hanging slider. Got away with one right there. A long fly ball to left field, but stays in the ballpark. 2 outs now in the inning with a runner at first base.
Well, the Diamondbacks have done a good job containing Nolan Arenado so far in the series. He is 1 for 9 with a double. Hitless last night. Rounded out his first time up tonight against Corbin. Right back at you. There's the quick glove hand. And Patrick is through 3, but the Rockies get 2, and we are tied up 2-2 on Independence Day at Chase Field. 2-2 ball game. Rockies and Diamondbacks. And now for the D-backs, the second time through the order against Colorado starter David Hale. David Peralta, Paul Goldschmidt, Yasmani Tomas, 2, 3, and 4 in the Arizona third. Shift is on against Peralta. They overload the right-hand side. Peralta hits at a bunt that draws Rosario in from first. He walked and scored his first time up. David got the red, white, and blue batting gloves going tonight. The chopper to Rosario, that hooks foul right in front of the bag. There you go.
That's a nice look. I like those red, white, and blues.
Red, white, and blue all over the ballpark. Wait till you see what Ralph Kelso is wearing tonight. Have you seen Ralphie tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Later on, we'll have to get a Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast. Check the forecast for the fireworks after the ball game. But Ralph looks like a Bruce Springsteen album cover.
Yeah, I had to salute him when I walked into the booth.
Well, we do that anyway.
Yeah. This goes with the territory.
Today was special. Shoots it down the left field line. Foul. Ralph Kelso high above courtside, in the words of the late great Johnny Most. There he is. Ralphie, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Bert?
I'm doing great, thanks. That's a great looking shirt.
Thank you very much. My wife dresses me.
Ralph, we getting the fireworks in tonight? What's happening?
You betcha. Confidence is high. It's going to happen. And happy birthday, America.
Ralph Kelso, spot on weather forecast. Into the shift. Tulowitzki had to cross behind LeMahieu to get that one. This gets a little tricky. It's like Ghostbusters, right? Don't cross the streams.
Yeah, you know, and especially you play those whole shifts. But obviously guys aren't in their normal position, and you're not sure how much range Troy Tulowitzki has as a second baseman. DJ LeMahieu started to go to his right, looked like he was going to attempt a very tough backhanded play, but at the last instant gave up on it, let Tulowitzki make the easier play.
Ball one to Goldie. He walked his first time up. Having a big series this weekend, 4 hits and a pair of walks so far. Had an RBI double in the first inning last night, was on base 3 times. Came from Chinle, Arizona to watch Goldie hit a home run.
Yeah, one of our keys to the game was in-game fireworks. I think we're about to see some right here. Goldie looks like he's real hitterish tonight. I mean, he always sees the ball well, but he's laid off some really tough borderline pitches in his first at bat in this game to go from 0-2 to 3-2 and ultimately take a walk. If David Hale makes a mistake here, Goldie might satellite him.
Hitters count on 2-1. Just missed there, and it's 3 balls and a strike. Goldie homered off Hale last week in Denver.
What happened there? We're not used to seeing that. Hitters count. Goldie chases the slider low and away out of the zone.
The expression on his face.
He's not used to doing that.
Red, white, and Goldie, America's first baseman. 3-2 pitch. A little number in front of home plate. Hundley's going to have to hurry, and he makes a nice play to throw him out. Nick Hundley, the U of A Wildcat, pounced on that one. 2 down.
Well, if he'd have gotten it up a little bit and hit it 350 feet further, it would have been a home run. But nice play there by Nick Hundley coming out from behind the plate. He knows he's got to hurry because Goldie's going to hustle down that line. They just do get him by half a step.
Two down for Yasmani Tomas, who had an RBI on a fielder's choice his first time up. Drives it to the right field corner. That's a fair ball. It's off the wall. A nice play by Barnes to get it back in quickly, but Yasmani Tomas is in there with his 14th double.
Third baseman, Jake.
That's it. Patented Yasmani Tomas inside-out swing. Drives that ball with authority down into the right field corner. You're right, Barnes played that carom perfectly, but Tomas easily cruises into second base with that 2-out double.
In scoring position for Jake Lamb, who had an RBI single his first time up tonight. Strike one. Jake with 12 hits in his last 10 games, including tonight. And he scored 7 runs over that span. Trying to bring Tomas home from second. He's down 0-2. Tell you what, Hale's gotten his share of swings and misses so far against the Diamondback hitters.
His slider's better tonight than I remember when we faced him at Coors Field. Of course, most breaking balls disappear at Coors Field.
Diamondbacks so far just 2 hits. The Tomas double, the Lamb single back in the first. Hey fans, now's the time to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Just use the hashtag AZDanaStrongFan. And you just might see yourself in your photo in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Red, white, and blue photos coming in tonight.
Oh, absolutely. You keep that in mind. Holidays, special occasions.
Lamb strikes out and Hale strands the 2-out double. Through 3, we are tied up 2-2. 18th, he won at Yankee Stadium. 1 run on 2 hits in 7 innings. He was outstanding. Then June 2nd, beat the Cubs at Wrigley Field. A win in his 7th consecutive start. He got to 9-0, a 2.06 ERA to that point. And then on July 12th, he beat the Brewers here at Chase Field. Struck out 10 for the 2nd straight game. Got to 11-1. August 20th, he beats the Reds in Cincinnati. Got to 13-3, his 4th 10-strikeout game that year. And then September 11th, he won at Dodger Stadium 4-1 for his 14th and final victory of the year. Here he gets William Rosario to hit a high fly ball to Tomas for the first out here in the 4th. 1 pitch, 1 out for Patrick. That was quite a run he went on 2 years ago.
Oh, man, it really was. It was fun to watch.
Left fielder, Drew Stubbs.
I mean, initially you could chalk some of it up. Well, unfamiliarity. Teams don't know a lot about Patrick Corbin, but as they gather more information and get more videotape and more advanced scouting, it's going to be tougher for Patrick. And he just continued to go out there and put up zeros and beat teams with regularity.
What a start. His first 11 starts, he was 9-0 with a 2.08 ERA. Here's Drew Stubbs, who popped up his first time. Of course, the irony is you've got to be a really good pitcher to lose in the All-Star game. But that's the situation in which Patrick found himself. July 18th, a losing pitcher for the National League. He started the 4th inning in that ball game. American League ended up winning 3-0, so there was no run support. But he started the 4th, gave up a double to Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers. Baltimore's Chris Davis singled. Jose Bautista of the Blue Jays had an RBI sac fly. That was the game's first run, and Corbin ended up with a loss. And one of the many highlights of a big 2013 for this young left-hander. 2-2 on Stubbs. You bet he went, fielding Culbreth. 2nd strikeout for Corbin, 2 down.
Way out there. Familiar sight for Drew Stubbs, trying to check swing on a 2-strike count and getting out there too far.
How about this for Stubbs? I mean, keep updating the numbers, but they're more amazing as we go along. 34 strikeouts this year in 56 major league at-bats. 2 down for Nick Hundley.
Don't lose your glove. He's a really good defender in the outfield, whether it be on the corners tonight in left or in center field, his natural position. But
Hundley drives this one to the right field corner. Tomas at the wall. And it is off the wall. Hundley on the run. He's heading for 3rd, and he's in there with a triple. Nick Hundley, his 2nd triple this year. Tomas went up to try and Spider-Man that one. It got behind him, and Hundley made it all the way to 3rd.
I tell you, Yasmani's had some real tough chances out in that right field corner already in this ball game. A double earlier by Troy Tulowitzki down in that right field corner, and now Nick Hundley makes a bid for extra bases high off the top of the wall out there.
That was a little Manny Ramirez-ish.
Yeah, just a little bit. Put your glove up and hope the ball lands in it, but obviously concerned about protecting himself against that wall. He jumped better than halfway up the wall. Fortunately, his cleat didn't get stuck in the fence out there.
Brandon Barnes, who singled and scored a run his last time up. 2 outs and Hundley at 3rd. It's got to be tough to play that wall in that corner, Bob, because it juts in, it juts out. It's basically a chain link fence down there. It's not like a smooth, even surface padded wall that you see on some outfielders.
Yeah, right at the base of the foul pole, you've got some angles out there to deal with. It's just not a straight fence across there for Yasmani Tomas to deal with.
And then you got to find it. See, there's so much give in that fence. Corbin ahead 0-2 now. And then you got the Rockies bullpen guy staring at you. Chases that one in the dirt. Foul tip, stays alive.
Did get a piece of that. Hundley was coming down the line at 3rd.
Did he? Didn't hear anything.
Called it immediately back there. Paul Schreiber, the home plate umpire.
One more look. Another 0-2. Chase that one as well. Does not get a piece of that. Saltalamacchia completes the strikeout. That's 3 for Corbin, who strands the 2-out triple. We are tied at 2 at Chase Field. In part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
That's where you can get your Goldie Bleacher Creature, and what a deal. You get one for $20, or you can get all 3 for $44. And as we said before, the donation goes to Phoenix Children's Hospital. Oh, you got some grandkids or nieces and nephews out there. Got birthdays coming up. Christmas is not too far away.
Goldie's fun for kids. $44 gets you 3 Goldie Bleacher Creatures, and those are a great looking item for the youngsters. And all the proceeds go to PCH. A tremendous job by Paul and his wife Amy. They do so much great work down there. Jared Saltalamacchia leads off the Diamondback 4th against David Hale. Salty struck out his first time. Rockies have the shift on. They overload the right-hand side.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Big cut at the 1-1. That's a very hittable pitch right there to a powerful left-hander. The switch hitter batting from the left-hand side. 2-2 now. Salty for his career 50 points better or so. As a lefty, that's where most of his power is. He did not go. Manny Gonzalez down at third. It's full 3-2. There are the splits. He's a career 206 hitter from the right-hand side. Just over 250 from the left. And he drives this one toward the right field wall. It's off the wall. Saltalamacchia takes the turn, and he's in there with a leadoff double.
To feel good. Salty has swung through some very hittable fastballs in the early going tonight, but gets one down and in this time, right in his happy zone. jerks it down into that right field corner for Brandon Barnes. Lead-off double. You gotta love that.
Just the third hit for the Diamondbacks against David Hale. Sixth double this season for Saltalamacchia. Here's Chris Owings, who flying out to center his first time up. Base hit for CO. Saltalamacchia had to hold up. Andy Green will stop him there. And Owings, who had 3 hits last night, has a single here. He's 1 for 2. And they're on the corners with no outs.
I love it when a hitter goes to the plate with a game plan. CO is looking for something to hit to the right side here. Really stayed on that breaking ball away. And unlike previous at bats when we've seen him flail and try to pull that pitch, instead he drives it to right center field, moving Saltalamacchia up to third base. Yeah, the baseball gods will reward you if you try to do the right thing in a situation. That time CO was trying to move the runner from second to third base and got rewarded with a base hit into right center.
Nick Ahmed now. Nick grounded out his first time up. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Let's take a look at our lows. Never stop improving player of the game. It's Nick Ahmed, who's been on a roll at the plate lately.
Nearly 300 over his last 17 games. The power has shown up. 3 homers. He's driven in 8. OPS over 800 over his last 17.
Diamondback coaches tell us they have loved what they've seen at the plate from Nick Ahmed. They really trust his pitch judgment right now. The bats have been better and better. Can he get this one to the right side and get the run in? He's going to drop a bunt down. He pops it up back to the mound, and Saltalamacchia runs himself into an out.
Safety squeeze, and Nick bunted it hard right out in front of home plate. I don't think Saltalamacchia was running on the pitch. He waited until he saw the ball bunted on the ground, and only then did he break toward home plate. That's just a bad read on the part of Jared Saltalamacchia. You're under no requirement to run on that pitch. There's nobody coming behind you to force you off the bag at third. If you get a read that that ball's going back to the mound, you have to retreat to third base.
So now with 1 out, it's Chris Owings at second, Nick Ahmed at first, and here's Patrick Corbin. Patrick popped up his first time up.
First and second situation. Patrick, if he is indeed bunting with 1 out in the inning, should try to put it down that third baseline toward Nolan Arenado.
Pulls back in time. He's ahead 2-0. Rosario keeps crashing in from first. Andy Green at third. Rosario playing in front of the runner Ahmed. Arenado on the dirt at third. Pulls back again, and it's 3 balls and no strikes.
Do it again. Show bunt again. Sometimes that disrupts a pitcher out there on the mound when they see that guy square around, the bat sticking out there in the middle of the strike zone. Sometimes that's the hardest time for a pitcher to throw a strike.
It's 1 in there, 3-1 now.
Gets the benefit of the doubt on that 3-0 pitch. Just maybe nipped the corner of the plate.
Squares up again. It's a down in front of the mound. Hale has 1 play. They move the runner along. Owings at third, and Ahmed now at second. it's 2 on and 2 outs for A.J. Pollock.
Now batting, center fielder, A.J. Pollock.
A.J. reached on an error and scored a run his first time up. He lined out to Arenado at third his last time. A.J. 7 hits in his last 3 games. He's had a pair of hits in each of the first 2 games in this series. 2 on and 2 out.
Well, anytime you get a runner to third base against the Rockies, a wild pitch is always a possibility as far as options for scoring runs. Only the Brewers have had more wild pitches this season than the Rockies pitching staff. David Hale with 4 on the season.
Two and 1. Series finale tomorrow. Final home game of the first half of the year. Diamondback Live pregame show at 12:30. It's a De La Rosa duel. Ruby De La Rosa and Jorge De La Rosa. A rematch of their showdown last week at Coors Field. Remember, Jorge De La Rosa had to leave that ball game with a cut on his finger. That's still a problem. Two and 2.
Which is all the more reason Walt Weiss may try to get some length out of David Hale tonight. He used his bullpen liberally in the first 2 games of this series, and with De La Rosa pitching tomorrow and knowing he has an issue with a cut on his finger, he would like to save as many of those arms for tomorrow if necessary.
Oberg and Miller have both pitched in both games of the series so far. They used 5 relievers last night. A rocky first inning for David Hale, but he's for the most part settled down since. That is a fair ball down the left field line. Oh, he scores. Here comes Ahmed. A.J. Pollock is in at second with a 2-run double, and it's 4-2 Diamondbacks.
Emotional crushers for the team on defense and the pitcher on the mound. You got 2 outs in the inning, a possibility of escaping the inning without giving up any runs, and then AJ spanks one past Arenado down into that left field corner to drive home 2. And he's in scoring position for David Peralta. Patrick Corbin now in line for the win, and there goes AJ. No throw, uncontested. His 18th stolen base and his second tonight. Nobody was looking back there. You have just a little bit of a walking lead. If you have your momentum going toward third base, you don't have to get a great jump as long as you're moving that direction when the pitch is thrown. And that time AJ just had about a half a step, maybe a full step walking lead, and kept on going. Not really a high percentage play to steal third base with 2 outs in the inning, but if you can get a jump like that and be sure you can make it, go ahead and go. I just mentioned the wild pitches for the Rockies pitching staff, and Sitting 90 feet away from home plate, you've got a good chance to score if he happens to bounce one to the backstop.
Shift is on against Peralta, who's ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. Did he hold up? No, he did not. Paul Schreiber makes that call from behind the plate. 2-2.
Take a deep breath after that one.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pollock at third. Ball 4. Here comes Goldie. Second walk tonight for Peralta. His plate discipline lately has really been good for David. He has walked now 8 times over his last 12 games, including twice tonight.
I wonder how much of that is a byproduct of seeing more left-handed pitching, because obviously for a left-handed hitter to hit a left-handed pitcher, you really have to track that ball, make sure you're swinging at the good ones. David has shown a really good eye at the plate lately.
Steve Foster going to pay another mound visit. Rockies bullpen for the moment is quiet. A long first, and he's labored through a 26-pitch fourth.
He's 20 hitters in the ball game. He's gone to a 3-ball count on 7 of them.
And he's hung a few, Bob, as you've mentioned. He's hung a few to Goldie tonight. Goldie's had some pitches to hit in this ball game, and just hasn't been able to make contact. He has walked and tapped back to the mound. 0 for 1. But he swung through a couple of hangers.
He was just setting him up for this at bat.
It might be.
Dusty Baker used to talk about that with Hank Aaron, that he would swing through very hittable pitches early in the game if there was 2 outs and nobody on base, but he'd come up in the game later with runners in scoring position and rip that same pitch out of the ballpark.
They're on the corners with 2 outs. Pollock is at third, Peralta at first. Strike 1. Goldie's last home run, June 24th, against these Rockies at Coors Field against David Hale. Two outs and runners in scoring position. He's the guy you want up. David Peralta right behind on that list. One pitch. Oh, he dropped it in there on him. 2-2. You saw Goldie flinch a bit. That one might have been outside the strike zone.
Sometime in the last week, Major League Baseball expanded the plate an extra 6 inches on that outside part of the plate to the righties. I don't know when that happened. I didn't see the memo.
Manny Gonzalez and Paul Schreiber have seen it. I can tell you that. Gonzalez's strike zone was enormous last night. Schreiber called that one on the outside of strike. So it's 2-2. Well, Goldie's had 3 at-bats tonight, and he's gone 3-2 all 3 times. Tomas would be next. He's got an RBI and a double tonight. 1 for 2. Peralta takes off from first. Goldie fouls it off into the backstop. A long fourth inning for David Hale. Patrick Corbin now with a 4-2 lead. Pollock the runner at third. Peralta at first will be off of the pitch one more time. Got him. But the Diamondbacks get two. They take a 4-2 lead. A.J. Pollock, his 16th double, drives in two when the Diamondbacks lead at 4-2.
Diamondbacks with a 4-2 lead. Jody Jackson back with you here at Chase Field. Jared Saltalamacchia catching today. Wellington Castillo, of course, on the roster as well. Those two sharing time. And Oscar Hernandez was activated today. The young man who was on the DL with the hand injury. He is back. The Rule 5 pick has to be on the roster with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They think so highly of him. He will be here. And guys, Chip Hale said for the foreseeable future, he will be carrying those three catchers. He said the disadvantage is that Hernandez won't get a ton of playing time and the other two guys will suffer losing a start when he does start. But the advantage is that Castillo and Saltalamacchia will have more pinch hit availability, which is good news for those guys.
Matt Stites and Danny Dorn sent to Reno today. Patrick Corbin activated along with Oscar Hernandez. So they'll go with three catchers for a while as David Hale leads off the fifth. And remember, Oscar Hernandez, the first overall pick by the Diamondbacks in the Rule 5 draft last December. And that's where it gets a little tricky. There's a lot of paperwork involved. This is rolled by Goldie and fair up the right field line. David Hale will stop at first. The leadoff single. Oscar Hernandez. Now, according to the way the rules are written, the Diamondbacks have to keep Oscar Hernandez on their Major League 25-man roster for the entirety of the season. But he has to remain active on the roster, meaning not on the DL, for at least 90 days. Otherwise, he has to be offered back to Tampa Bay, and they would love to take him back. And the way they timed it out, the Diamondbacks front office, the date is important here, July 4th. Oscar, if he stays on the roster from today through the end of the year, that's 90 days. Then he's in the clear. And they own him outright. He is a tremendous catching prospect. Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon is 2 for 2. He's singled in the first. An RBI double. He scored a run in the third. Oh, 0-2. Sanderson Ford bullpen. Randall Delgado starts throwing.
So I'm getting loose earlier. The call down was probably just get Randall up, have him start moving around. If he's got any stretching exercises or lifting exercises he wants to do before he begins to throw, go ahead and get him started. And then they didn't need him, so they sat him back down. Now he's throwing in earnest.
Owens at second. They get the lead man Hale, but they won't be able to turn two. Blackman runs well.
That internal stopwatch running in your head the entire time you're moving to your left to field that ball. And Chris Owings realized he had time to get the lead runner at second, but with Blackman running down the first baseline, no chance to turn two.
And if you're keeping an eye on Patrick Corbin's pitch count, and everyone in the Diamondback dugout certainly is, once again he's on a 90 pitch limit tonight. Chip Hale says the plan is to keep Corbin under 100 pitches in every start for the rest of this year. The end game here is to get him ready to return to top form from the jump next season. Right now 71 pitches, 53 for strikes.
I would think tonight especially try to get him out of there on a positive note if at all possible. You want him to get through this fifth inning obviously, so he's in line for the win should the Diamondbacks hang on. But you definitely want Patrick to take a positive experience away from his first outing.
Well, Patrick told me this spring, even as early as February, that he was feeling really, really good. He would joke and tell me, I wish they'd let me do more, but they were really careful with him. And he was adamant about not wanting to go through what Steven Strasburg went through a few years ago, pitching for part of a season and then having to be shut down at the end of the year. Blackman on the run. That one rolls to Owens at second. He's got no play. And LeMahieu's aboard.
He wasn't able to make a play, but he saved 90 feet right there by knocking that ball down just into the outfield grass. CO was responsible for coverage on the stolen base. You see him breaking towards second, and then he's got a reverse engines, able to knock it down, and that was enough to hold Charlie Blackman at second base, keep him from advancing on to third.
So it's Blackman at second, LeMahieu at first. One out, and here's Tulowitzki, who doubled in the first. He's 1 for 2.
He has really made Patrick work. 7 pitches in each of his first 2 at bats of the ball game, as opposed to the guy in the on deck circle, Nolan Arenado, who's seen 3 pitches in his 2 at bats.
Tulo has now hit safely in 29 of his last 30 games, and he's hitting better than .390 over that stretch. That's in there for a strike. 1-1. High strike call from Paul Schreiber.
Slider. He's used all of his pitches tonight. There doesn't appear there's any restrictions whatsoever for Patrick out there. I know they've said 90 pitches, but if you start to lose your effectiveness or your mechanics start to wander around a little bit. Jake
Lamb, Chris Owens, they roll the double play. And Patrick Corbin is through 5 with a 4-2 lead. For the second. brought to you in part by Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. By Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. And by Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros location today. The return of Patrick Corbin. He leads it 4-2 as we start the bottom of the fifth with Yasmani Tomas on Independence Day here at Chase Field. Patrick Corbin so far has given up 2 runs on 8 hits. No walks and 3 strikeouts. He's had 2 double play balls behind him, including that 5-4-3 to end the fifth off the bat of Troy Tulowitzki. 0-2 to Yasmani. Talking with Ken Crenshaw, the Diamondback head trainer. 76 pitches. What do you think? Want to roll them out there for one more? High fly ball to left center field. Charlie Blackmon.
Yeah, for me, I'd probably pull the plug. I mean, I mentioned it in that last half inning. You want him to end on a positive note. You want him to go home feeling really good about his first start back off the disabled list, and I think he does feel pretty good right now. I wouldn't want to risk sending him back out there for one more inning just to get to that pitch count number. If you're concerned about the pitch count number, he can go down to the bullpen and throw another 20 pitches.
That is the discussion for Chip Hale and Mike Harkey. Randall Delgado continues warming up at the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Here's Jake Lamb. Jake had an RBI single in the first. He struck out his last time.
You know, his 5th or 6th or 7th start back off the disabled list. Absolutely, you keep running him out there. But first time back, I believe he's going to hit a wall here at some point. We showed you the numbers from his minor league rehab starts, and he always seemed to kind of run out of gas in the last inning or 2 of those outings.
And the fatigue was consistently a factor for Patrick in those minor league rehab. After all, it had been more than a year since he'd pitched, and so he would tend to get tired around the 4th or 5th inning, and that's when most of the damage would be done against him. That's why you see some of the high hit totals from the minor league outings. That's in there for a strike. 2-2. I'm with you. Right now I'm walking out of the casino with my chips here.
Don't do that often, but yeah, I would this time.
He's worked 5 innings. He's got a 4-2 lead. 3-2 to Lamb.
On that base.
A smash right into the shift. Tulo spins and throws him out from the outfield grass. 2 down.
Take a look at our Geico. This day in Major League Baseball history on the 4th of July, Independence Day. A lot of fans will remember this game. Dave Righetti, starting pitcher for the Yankees, no-hit the Red Sox on the 4th of July. You think they shot off any fireworks in the Bronx that day?
They didn't shoot off any in Medfield, Massachusetts, I can tell you that.
That was the first Yankee no-hitter since Don Larsen's perfect game in the World Series back in 1956. And, of course, Dave Righetti, now the longtime pitching coach for the San Francisco Giants.
Whatever.
Not so fired up about Rank's no-hitter, huh?
Kind of bummed out our 4th of July in Boston. Boston Pops weren't quite as spectacular that day. Two 2-0 to Salty, who doubled his last time up. Patrick Corbin pacing in the dugout. Randall Delgado still throwing in the bullpen. 3-0 is in there.
My own personal favorite on the 4th of July every year comes from Chicago. Back in 1900, they were playing at the West Side Grounds. 10,000 fans showed up for the game on the 4th of July, and when they celebrated the actual holiday and made the announcement at the ballpark, 1,000 people pulled out their guns and shot them into the air.
Charlton Heston threw out the first pitch that night. Called strike 3. Paul Schreiber rings him up. 4 strikeouts for Hale through 5. Diamondbacks lead at 4-2. Our Gila River game summary on this Independence Day. Patrick Corbin on a major league mound for the first time since September 27th of 2013. Following Tommy John surgery, 2 runs on 8 hits and 5. He had no walks and struck out 3. And he leads it 4-2 after 5. Randall Delgado on in relief to open up the 6th.
That's a nice look, but that messes with your REM sleep. Those people are going to have trouble falling asleep tonight. See those lights flashing in their eyes all night long.
Well, we'll have a lot more lights later tonight. Big fireworks. This is a biggie, the big one of the year. Roof will open up, and Ralph Kelso has assured us that we're good to go for 4th of July fireworks after the ball game.
Now, in his defense, Ralph said confidence is high.
I took that from him as a guarantee. His reputation is on the line, and it is sterling after some of his performances lately. Here's Arenado, who's 0 for 2. He's not done much in this series. In fact, he's just 1 for 10. The dribbler to third, Jake Lamb.
Yeah, he hasn't had a ball out of the infield in the last 2 games. A 6-3 in his first at bat tonight, a 1-3 in his second at bat, and now a 5-3.
It'll work to Willeen Rosario, who's 0 for 2. I mean, Arenado had hit 8 home runs in his previous 10 games coming into this series. But so far, 1 for 11.
And you wonder if Nolan Arenado's defense or lack thereof in this series might be affecting him at the plate. He's booted some relatively routine balls. An easy forehand play, an easy backhand play, and then the one tonight was just a smash that he tried to block, but hit off the thumb of his glove and went over to Troy Tulowitzki short. It's been known to happen when a guy struggles defensively. He takes it up to the plate with him, or vice versa. If you're struggling at the plate, you take it out to the field with you. I'm not sure which came first, but Nolan Arenado's been really quiet the last 2 days.
One of just 5 players in big league history to win a Gold Glove in each of his first 2 seasons in the majors. But he's had 3 errors in the series. Look at off this ball. Pump up the shortstop, and Nick Ahmed is there. Hey fans, tomorrow Diamondbacks wrap up this series with the Rockies, and D-backs executive DeJohn Watson joins the Diamondbacks live pregame show to discuss the ball club. There's DeJohn. It's Executive Sunday tomorrow, 12:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. He's a really, really engaging guy, a lot of fun to talk to. And he'll make a great guest tomorrow on the Diamondback live pregame show. 5 pitches, 2 outs for Delgado. This one is driven deep to right. Tomas is there. A 6-pitch 1-2-3 6th, and the Diamondbacks lead it 4-2.
Not share the stage with anyone else. There's the salute from BB from our booth here, and watch this move. There's only room for one. That's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game.
There are no bylaws for the Bob Brenly's Hecklers Club, so if you feel like knocking somebody else's sign down, go right ahead.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves. New pitcher for the Rockies, the veteran right-hander Rafael Betancourt.
ERA right at 6.5.
Second baseman.
This reinstated from the 15-day DL about a week ago after suffering from vertigo. And he'll work to Chris Owings to lead off the 6th. Diamondback rocks the Snake Pit. Great Diamondback fan website. Looking for a D-backs win.
Oh, that is a crafty sign right there.
Snake Pit guys do a terrific
Yeah,
job.
they do.
Covering the team, and they really do a great job covering all the minor league teams. If you go to the AZ Snake Pit site, they'll give you the rundown on all the teams, even Missoula and everybody. Kane County, Visalia. C.O. Singleton scored his last time up, 1 for 2. Might be bullpen by committee for the rest of this ball game for Chip Hale. Enrique Burgos has started throwing in the Arizona bullpen after Randall Delgado worked a very quick 6th inning. Sanderson Ford bullpen. There's the big right-hander. Burgos worked 1 inning last night through 12 pitches. What is the criteria, by the way, for entry into the Bob Brenly Hecklers Club?
Well, you have to have a pulse.
Very strict.
Above and beyond, we're not picky.
There they are.
Obviously.
They appear to be well served. 3-1.
And they're all huge Arizona fans. I mean, the Coyotes, the Cardinals, the Suns, the Mercury.
Everybody's represented there. U of A.
Yeah.
You got the new colors, the old colors. Three-one pitch. Another part of the there's the Bob Brenly Hecklers Club, and then there's the Brenly Committee. You are really spread thin here. Don't forget, fans, tweet us your strongest fan photo. Don't forget to use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan. That's AZDataStrongFan with the hashtag of the whole thing. And you might see your picture on an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Well, once again, just some pointers. If you get a photo of yourself with a player, that's always big.
Embrace a particular holiday theme.
Teams, D. Baxter. If you get in a picture with D. Baxter, that's always good. We love the throwback purple, but we also love the Sedona red, so just keep that in mind.
And if I recall, anyone often pictured with food seemed to have an advantage.
Yes, indeed.
But don't forget the #1 rule. No varmints.
No varmints. Brandon Webb learned that the hard way.
Pictures of possums.
Yeah, gophers and stuff.
3-2. A leadoff walk to CO. Always nice to see him take a walk.
Yeah, really good, especially leading off the inning. I was just about to say Webby's probably run over a few gophers in his RV on the way back to Kentucky. Scooped him up and have some vittles when they get home.
Well, after what we put him through there last year, he heard the committee was back in session and he fled the country.
He left town.
Nick Ahmed hit into a fielder's choice and scored a run his last time up.
Well, we talk a lot about how hitting in that 8 spot is a tough duty, especially for a young player. But this is one particular situation where you've got a pinch hitter coming up behind you. Aaron Hill's already out into the on-deck circle. So they're not going to tap dance around Nick Ahmed right here. This may be one at bat where they're going to come right after that #8 hitter, knowing that there's another hitter coming up behind him.
Delgado worked the 6th. Aaron Hill is in the on-deck circle, apparently ready to hit for Randall. Burgos has been warming up with a bullpen. Chip Hale trying to make it 3 straight against these Rockies and get back within 1 game of 500. Diamondbacks started the day 5.5 back in the division, only 4 off the wild card. Owings running on the pitch. It's a fly ball along the right field line. Barnes in foul ground has it for the first out. And here's Aaron Hill to hit for Delgado.
Attempted hit and run right there. Unfortunately, Nick just couldn't get on top of that pitch up and out over the plate. Hit that high fly ball into foul territory, but Chris Owings read it well, was able to stop and get back to the bag at first.
Jim Reynolds, the second base umpire out there, checking in with Rafael Betancourt about a uniform or something?
Well, I'm not sure. Betancourt has a lot of moving parts in his delivery out there, and occasionally an umpire will come in and say, hey, give me a little better stop than that.
Friendly warning?
Yeah, just a very friendly warning. You don't want to stop the game, doesn't want to make a big deal out of it, but you're really pushing the limit there with your stop on the mound. Not sure if that's the conversation, but I've heard that conversation before.
Aaron Hill had a 2-run double Thursday in the series opener. He has homered off Betancourt before. He walked in a pinch hit appearance last night. Here's the view from Jim Reynolds.
You saw Jim Reynolds from his position out there at second base. He's not standing far away from the mound at all. Looking right into Rafael Betancourt as he came up into his set position. And as I mentioned, I'm just speculating, but I think on the pitch that was in question, he didn't come to much of a stop out there. Just kind of glided right into the pitch.
Jim Reynolds is one of the best in the business, and I say that because he lives in the area and often listens to Snake Talk on the drive home, and he works here at Chase Field. We had a conversation about that in the fall. He says, "Yeah, I'm driving home and I heard your Snake Talk show, and guys were killing us." Umpires had not had a great night that night. He was very good about it.
To be more specific, which night was that?
Exactly.
Quite a few of those.
Well, I know. Don't get the Hecklers Club fired up.
I think the Hecklers, I think they were the guys that got it going last night when that appeal call at second base went against the Diamondbacks. I think the Hecklers were the one that were leading the booing.
Trying to get that whole section going. They appear to be heckling.
Watch this. I get them to look up here.
All right, see if you can do it.
When they look this way, watch them. They just go crazy.
After this pitch. All right, see what you can do here. Work your magic.
Hey.
You're like Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now.
You got to get them to look up here first. Any other time we can't move without him staring up here. Now we want him to look up here, and he's hustling girls behind him.
The guy in the end is double-fisted.
See, we got to work about getting the Hecklers Club better seats, closer to the visiting dugout.
They do have a connection. Yeah, they say they've lost focus now.
Yeah, they have. They really have. Stay focused for 9 innings. There you go. There you go.
Guy in the Coyotes hat has picked up the pace.
I mean, if you're going to heckle the visiting team, you have to be close enough for them to hear you.
Must be spring break in the Ivy League. Foul ball here for the Rocky dugout. Rosario has it. A.J. Pollock. Series finale tomorrow on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondback Live pregame show starring Deshaun Watson on Executive Sunday. Comes your way at 12:30. Ruby De La Rosa and Jorge De La Rosa. Hopefully the Diamondbacks will be going for the 4-game sweep. They've won the first 2 games of this 4-game set. They lead game 3 here, 4-2. 2 outs in the 6th. Here's A.J. A 2-run double his last time up. And the Rockies overload the left-hand side. LeMahieu, the second baseman, behind the second base bag. Chris Owings aboard at first after a leadoff walk.
You see the numbers for A.J. Pollock in his career. Has tied a career high in RBI after only 80 ball games.
Already passed his career high with 10 home runs. Got number 10 here Thursday night in the series opener. He hits like a guy who could be a middle of the order bat. He's had to bat leadoff with Ender Inciarte on the DL. Chip Hale tells us he really likes AJ in the 2-hole. Bob Brenly Hecklers Club.
Good clapping. Nice going. Trying to rally the troops over there.
Good thing they weren't rowing the boat when Washington crossed the Delaware. Would have crashed on the rocks. He's standing up in the bow. Base hit into center. And Seal on the run. He's headed for third. The throw from Blackman is cut off.
that one right back where it came from, beating that shift right back up the middle of the field. A little bit of an aggressive turn there by Chris Owings, but able to outrun the throw from Charlie Blackmon to third base. Ultimately, Tulo cuts it off right there to try to hold A.J. Pollock on at first.
Well, Owings is at third, A.J. at first. 2 down, Peralta the hitter. He has walked twice and grounded out. Chance to tack on another run or two. Two on, 2 out. Just inside. David has been feasting on Rockies pitching this year. Hitting .375 versus Colorado, 6 extra base hits and 6 RBIs in 10 games. Him up, short left. Arenado. And the Diamondbacks strand 2 after 6. They have a 4-2 lead.
Not knowing if I could do it or not, and then walking out on the field, and I saw, I'm not sure who it was, but a Iraqi war veteran who had got his both legs blown off with an IED throughout the first pitch. And I was like, okay, it puts kind of the baseball and your debut in perspective. You know, like you're playing a game on the 4th of July because people sacrifice so much for you to be able to have that freedom.
Nick Hundley, former U of A Wildcat, talking about that moment on this field 7 years ago, and he gained that perspective that I think many of us can feel as we enjoy this 4th of July holiday made possible by those who sacrifice, allowing us to have the quality of life that we have. So some great insight today on the 7th anniversary of his Major League debut from Nick Hundley.
Thank you, Jody. And Nick Hundley will lead off the 7th on this Independence Day against Enrique Burgos. Moves on out of the Diamondback bullpen. 5 innings from Patrick Corbin, his return from Tommy John surgery. Delgado worked the 6th, and now Burgos the 7th. Hundley tripled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. 19th appearance for the big right-hander.
a bit inside. Tried to overthrow that slider. Lost the grip on it that time.
Hundley's been a productive bat lately for the Rockies. Hitting better than .330 over his last 13 games.
Much better slider that time. That was the same pitch that went to the backstop. At that time, Burgos allowed his body to get into proper position. His arm got out there. He found the right release point and threw a real nice slider down low and away from Hundley. And then tries to overthrow another one. Leaves that one up around shoulder high. Just human nature. You make a good pitch with it. Boy, that was easy. Watch what happens now when I really try to snap it off and then you end up throwing it to the backstop.
Is that patented glove pat that we see from Enrique that he picked up from Jonathan Broxton? He's got a similar frame up there. A lot of long legs and arms to coordinate, and watch him tap the glove right there with the ball. Right there. He'll do that before every pitch. Kind of helps coordinate all the arms and legs. Hundley shoots it down the right field line. That is a foul ball. Now, the Bob Brenly Hecklers Club may have looked into some research. They look like very smart guys. I'm sure they do all their homework. Your numbers as a player on July 4th, and a manager for that matter, outstanding.
I was a Patriot.
A great American.
Celebrate the troops on the 4th of July. You got to go out there and give it your best effort.
Do you remember the July 4th homer?
No.
Well, you might have been 4-0 as a manager. But you know, I hate to point this out. You came out just shy.
Oh, okay.
That was brought up by your highly unreliable staff. An easy fly ball to Tomas. Wrong, in fact. Ellen didn't go out there and cut it off. I mean, you almost made it that one year, right?
Yeah. I was at the ballpark on the 4th of July in 2004. Unfortunately, I was watching my son play over in San Diego.
Brandon Barnes.
That was 04.
Yeah.
Brandon Barnes. Pitcher spot is due up next, and Ben Paulson is in the on-deck circle. Knocked them up again. So a little more shallow for CO.
I'm sure every player on the field has similar memories that I do as a kid growing up. From the time you were in Little League, always playing baseball on the 4th of July. Occasionally it would be an all-star game. I talked about it back in Coshocton, Ohio. They had a big all-star game for the minor and major little leaguers, which led up to a fast-pitch softball game at night and then the fireworks afterward. It was always a big day. And I'm sure all the ball players out there on the field have similar stories about 4th of Julys growing up, always at the ballpark.
And the Diamondbacks trying to make sure that tradition lives on with all the great work they do building baseball fields all over the state of Arizona as part of the D-backs Give Back program.
I love it when they bring those guys out here in their uniforms and parade them around the field. Everybody's wearing a Diamondbacks uniform of some variation. Some purple, some black, some Sedona red. A little bit of everything.
That is one of the best things that the Diamondbacks do of the many programs here in the community. Keeping the youngsters playing the game. Keeping a lot of little leagues alive with their equipment and uniform donations as well. And building fields for them to play on. The 0-2 to Paulson. Sky high. This one might hit the roof. It's behind the Rocky dugout. Wow, that's way up there. Two. I'll tell you what, you got a picture of Ben Paulson up there on the DBTV board. That's the look in spring training when they had the photo day with that mustache. Yeah, that's fine, but it's changed a bit here by the time we roll around to July 4th.
I would call it a playoff beard, but that's a tad bit optimistic.
Rockies 10.5 out right now. Burgos gets the strikeout. Delgado a 1-2-3-6. Burgos 3 up, 3 down in the 7th. And we stretch at Chase Field. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. We'll see Jake Lamb coming up. Brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. By Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Sanderson Ford. The best play is at Sanderson Ford. A live look outside Chase Field on this Independence Day. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 4-2, set for the home half of the 7th inning. Hey fans, this July, baseball's best players gather in Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic. Home field advantage for the World Series on the line. Coverage of the 2015 MLB All-Star Game begins July 14th at 4 o'clock on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. 4th of July in Phoenix, Arizona. Glad to have you with us. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brentley, and Jody Jackson. And a very happy 4th to Diamondback fans everywhere from all of us here at the Diamondbacks and Fox Sports Arizona. A big crowd here tonight. This has been a lot of fun. Patrick Corbin has returned from Tommy John surgery. A 4-2 lead, and on for the Rockies, it's the veteran LaTroy Hawkins.
17th game this season for LaTroy Hawkins. He's had good stretches of the season. He's had bad stretches, which leads to that 5.27 ERA. We mentioned it the first couple games of this series. The Rockies bullpen dead last in the majors in ERA.
Well, he gets to open up with Paul Goldschmidt. And Manny Tomas and Jake Lamb after that. Goldie walked in the first. He has grounded out and struck out 0 for 2.
We've seen enough of LaTroy Hawkins to know that with nobody on base at some point in Goldie's at bat, he will try a quick pitch. The pitch is out of the stretch all the time, but on occasion he'll just lift that front leg and fire the ball home. And there he comes up into the full set position.
One and one.
I got a tweet here from Justin Emerson, and Justin says on the Twitter, for those watching the D-backs game on TV, the Bob Brenly Hecklers Club is right behind me, and they're awesome. So somewhere down there in the front row or two is Justin.
Well, thank you for the confirmation, Justin. We knew they were awesome.
Well, they say if you can just reach one person.
And there was that quick pitch from LaTroy Hawkins. Did it on a changeup. Trying to get Goldie to rush when he sees the quick pitch coming and then throw an off-speed delivery out of that quick pitch.
Well, he's gone 3-2 in all 4 plate appearances tonight. Working on that seam on that baseball out on the mound, Bob.
Goldie actually had the home plate umpire Paul Schreiber check the ball before the at bat started, and Schreiber threw the ball out of the game, gave him a new one, and Hawkins immediately went to work on the new one.
3-2 to Goldie. In the hole, it's short. Arenado cuts it off, spins and throws, and there's the Gold Glove third baseman. What a play. It's been a rough series for Arenado. 3 errors so far, but that was a beauty.
Great body control. He's throwing as he's spinning. Most guys have to spin all the way around, get their feet back underneath them again, and then make the throw to first. But Arenado just throws in mid-spin, and that's a pretty nice pick over there by Willeen Rosario at the other end.
One down for Yasmani Tomas. He doubled in the third, 1 for 3. D-backs tonight have been out hit 8-6, but they lead it 4-2. That's in the seats. Hey fans, slug your way to the Home Run Derby crown and master the free award-winning game millions are playing. You can download MLB.com Home Run Derby free at the App Store and Google Play. MLB.com Home Run Derby. Live outside the ballpark right now. Two and one. Uh-oh. They've been asked to keep it down.
Where do you think you are? At a ball game? One wave of my hand and there would be chaos over there.
Way up in the air. Drew Stubbs. That was a major league fly ball out.
He is fractions of an inch away from hitting that ball up into Friday's Front Row Sports Grill. Just got under it a tad.
Rockies have put the shift on for Jake Lamb. Tulowitzki Moves over to the first base side of second, right next to Jim Reynolds over there. And here's Lamb, who had an RBI single in the first. He's 1 for 3. He's due to get a hold of one. Feels like it's coming. "21 games since Jake came back from that foot injury. He's hit about .230. Dave McKay.
I don't know where Dave McKay's been every 4th of July for the majority of his life, standing in the first base coach's box.
You betcha. If there was a base coach's Hall of Fame, he'd be in it. Fly ball, left center field. Blackman backing up. Still backing up, and he's under it. And Hawkins works a 1-2-3-7. To the 8th we go. D-backs lead at 4-2 here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. '15 FIFA Women's World Cup final is here, and it's a rematch 4 years in the making. Alex Morgan and Team USA take on defending champion Japan. Coverage starts Sunday 2 o'clock only on their local Fox station and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. So you've got the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. The finale of this 4-game series, 1:10 first pitch here on Fox Sports Arizona, 12:30 Diamondback Live pregame show, and then the Women's World Cup final, Team USA and Team Japan. There's the entryway to Chase Field here, a live picture. As for the second night in a row, Daniel Hudson is on from the Diamondback bullpen. Huddy worked last night's ball game and threw 15 pitches.
Pitching with a little emotion in that ball game last night. Struck out 2 of the 3 batters that he faced. Got a fist pump from Daniel Hudson. Fired up.
He got Stubbs on a strikeout, struck out Blackman looking, and got LeMahieu to ground out. And here's Blackman to lead off the Colorado 8th. Blackman tonight 2 for 3, a single to lead off the ball game. He had an RBI double and scored a run in the 3rd. Drilled to center, AJ. Well, Delgado worked a very efficient, quick 1-2-3-6. Burgos 3 up, 3 down in the 7th. And now 1 down for Huddy here in the 8th.
Fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up on one of the 20 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
DJ LeMahieu 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He's got an RBI. Oh, Bob Brenly, Heckler's Club, blowing up on the Twitter. Hulk smash. They've hit social media. 1-2, 97 from Hudson.
Get off me, ball. As a hitter, you start your bat and you realize, oh my goodness, that's going to hit me right in the forearm. Pull your bat in real close to your body and hope you get a piece of it.
A ball and 2 strikes. Big crowd here tonight on Independence Day at Chase Field. Better than 42,000. Fought that one off and knocked it the other way into right. His 3rd hit tonight. Now the Rockies will get the tying run at the plate with a 1 out in Troy Tulowitzki.
A little bit reminiscent of the Yasmani Tomas inside out swing that produces so many line drives to that right side of the field. LeMahieu right out of Yasmani's book right there. Led with his hands, let the barrel of the bat drag behind, and shot it into right field.
Well, Tulowitzki did end the 5th inning against Patrick Corbin with a 5-4-3 double play. He doubled back in the 1st. He's 1 for 3. Just missed at 95 outside. It's 1-0. Tulowitzki's double in the 1st extended his hit streak. Now it's 17 games.
Was a time that Troy Tulowitzki was 2 for 11 against Daniel Hudson, but then he went 4 for his last 5 with a double and a homer. Bring those numbers up to a career 375 against the Diamondbacks righty.
Being careful here, but he's behind 2-0. Arenado on deck. Away, 3-0. Cell phone lights have started flickering. Big Independence Day crowd, 42,113 here with us at Chase Field. Ball 4. We didn't come close to challenging Tulo with anything right there.
quick trip to the mound. Now Mike Harkey making his way out to the mound. You wonder, was he pitching around Troy Tulowitzki right there and just missed his spots by quite a bit, or was there a reason he couldn't get the ball into the strike zone? I mean, every pitcher kind of picks his battles over the course of an inning. I've heard it called inning management. I mentioned the fact that Troy Tulowitzki 4 for his last 5 against Daniel Hudson with a home run. So Huddy looked like he was just going to pitch him carefully and take his chances with Nolan Arenado, even though that puts a tying run on base.
The cell phone lights are flashing here. 42,000 plus. The 50-50 raffle tonight, by the way, more than $43,000. So some lucky fan took away half of that. And so better than $20,000 collected tonight for the Arizona Diamondback Foundation. Great job by our fans here at the ball game tonight. So LeMahieu is the runner at second, Tulo at first, 1 out. Here's Arenado, who's 0 for 3.
Yeah, how about this number for Nolan Arenado? His last 9 at bats, he's seen a total of 21 pitches, and one of those was a 6-pitch at bat.
He's been up there hacking. And hold up there, 96 miles an hour for strike 1. 1 for 11 in the series. Oliver Perez, the left-hander, started throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Reaches out and knocks it into right, a base hit. They're going to stop LeMahieu at third, and they're loaded with 1 out. 3 straight have reached against Daniel Hudson.
First baseman, Rosario.
For an ugly-looking check swing on a pitch way out of the strike zone, Arenado just guides that one where it was pitched, just off the outside corner. A little soft liner into right to load him up.
For Willeen Rosario, 0 for 3 tonight. But over his previous 10 games, he's got 14 hits and 6 RBIs. LeMahieu at third, Tulowitzki at second, Arenado at first.
Saw Oliver Perez warming up in the Diamondbacks bullpen. We talked about it at the top of the show with Patrick Corbin starting the game tonight. Walt Weiss basically an all right-handed lineup with the exception of Charlie Blackmon, but that does give him some left-handed bats available off the bench. He's already used Ben Paulson. He's got Carlos Gonzalez and Daniel Descalso available from the left side. So with that in mind, Chip Hale gets his lefty up, Oliver Perez.
0-1 on Rosario. Daniel Hudson, 15 pitches last night. Working back-to-back nights here, about to throw pitch number 15 here. Always a concern coming off the double Tommy John surgery.
Daniel himself has been amazed at the velocity readings. He's sneaking up on triple digits. He's thrown 98, 99 a couple times recently, and so that even shocks him.
He's ahead of Rosario, 0-2. David Hernandez has joined Oliver Perez in the Diamondback bullpen.
Good stop by Salty. Good pitch by Daniel Hudson. Ahead in the count. Throw that changeup down there in the dirt. See if you can get Rosario to chase.
Hernandez the right-hander, Perez the lefty. Sanderson Ford bullpen. 1-2. Oscar Hernandez needs some catching help down there. Oscar just called up from AAA Reno today. Activated along with Patrick Corbin. Matt Stites and Danny Dorn sent to the Aces. They're loaded with 1 out for Rosario. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Back to the mound over the head of Hudson. Owings is there for 1. They can't get 2. LeMahieu scores and it's 4-3. It bounced over Huddy's head, a slow roller to the second base bag, not time enough to turn 2 there.
A very awkward ground ball back up the middle. If Nick Ahmed takes that ball, he can't get the force at second base, but if Chris Owings does, you at least get the lead runner, but not enough time to complete the double play throw on to Paul Goldschmidt.
So now the hitter is Drew Stubbs. You've got Tulowitzki, the tying run at third with 2 outs. Rosario, the go-ahead run at first. A chopper foul, and that one got him.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody react quite as quickly as Drew Stubbs did right there. Must have pounded that one right down off the top of his left foot. First pitch changeup from Daniel Hudson got him out in front a little bit. And he just pounds this ball down off his instep.
And that kind of year for Drew Stubbs. He started the season in an 0 for 21 and really has yet to recover offensively. Spent some time in the minor leagues, just called up before the start of this series. 0 for 3 tonight.
The head athletic trainer for the Rockies, allowing Stubbs an opportunity to try to walk this one off. Did some toe raises there. You know, there's a variety of different tests that a player will have to pass for the trainer depending on where the injury is. And you saw him raise up on his toes a couple of times. Jogs around the on-deck circle there, declares himself ready to go.
Hey fans, don't forget July 18th, Saturday, Star Wars night, Diamondbacks and Giants. It's a 5:10 start. 20,000 D-backs fans get this A.J. Pollock Star Wars bobblehead, courtesy of Cox Communications. Dress as your favorite Star Wars character. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. 0-1 to Stubbs. That lightsaber effect. Chase Field gets into it. Huddy walking a high wire here, trying to escape this 8th inning with the lead. 0-2 on Stubbs. Ground ball to short. Ahmed. The throw almost pulls Owings off the bag, but they get the force on Rosario, and that ends the inning. But the Rockies get 1. Diamondbacks lead at 4-3.
Know this coming up after the game, and before the fireworks start, Diamondbacks Live will begin, and we'll take a long look back at the night that was for Patrick Corbin. We'll break down his performance, plus we'll hear from him. That's right after the game, as always, on this 4th of July. We say thanks for watching. Diamondbacks Live coming up in a bit. Stephen Bob will send it back to you.
Todd, thanks very much. Reaction from the D-back clubhouse coming up right after the ball game as we start the bottom of the 8th inning. The new pitcher for the Rockies, the right-hander Tommy Kahnle. We saw Kahnle last night. He worked a 1-2-3 seventh. He got Peralta to ground out and then struck out Goldie and Tomas. He threw 17 pitches, 10 for strikes, his 15th appearance of the year. Jared Saltalamacchia, Chris Owings, Nick Ahmed, 6, 7, and 8 due up in the Arizona 8th.
Opponent's only batting .204 against Tommy Kahnle this year. You saw the 15 strikeouts against 10 walks. He can lose the zone quickly.
Well, Salty leads it off. He had a double back in the 4th. He has struck out twice, 1 for 3. Rockies will put the overshift on for Saltalamacchia, the switch hitter who bats left-handed against the righty Kahnle. Tulowitzki, the shortstop, right behind the second base bag. Strike 1. A little flare out to left. Base hit. Salty's aboard. His second hit tonight. Time for a look at our Arizona Federal Credit Union power player of the game, the return of Patrick Corbin.
Welcome back, Patrick Corbin. Good to see him back out on the mound competing once again. Looks an awful lot like the Patrick Corbin we saw back in 2013. Good fastball. He only lost his command a couple times in the game tonight. The slider was really good. 5 strong innings, gave up 2 earned runs.
Mike Harkey and Chip Hale have to be pleased with the effort of Patrick tonight. Here's Chris Owings, who had 3 hits last night. He singled and scored in the 4th tonight, walked his last time up. So the results have been much better as of late for CO.
And we should point out the big news will be tomorrow. See how Patrick Corbin feels coming in after his first start at the major league level. I imagine he'll have a little soreness here and there, but a good kind of soreness because he's back out on the mound doing what he loves to do.
It's great to have him back. Coach Oscar Hernandez a little while ago, the Rule 5 pick. Kahnle was a Rule 5 guy. Rockies got him in the Rule 5 draft 2 years ago from the Yankees. Owings squares to bunt. Gets down a good one. They move the runner along. Brings up Nick Ahmed.
Looked like CO may have been doing that on his own. Just didn't get it far enough away from Nick Hundley, who does a nice job once again coming out from behind the plate and firing on to first for the out. But in the meantime, Jared Saltalamacchia moves into scoring position.
1 out for Ahmed, who's 0 for 3. Pitcher spot is due up next. Cliff Pennington in the on-deck circle. Missed inside there. A ball and no strikes. Diamondback Live post-game show. Todd Walsh right after our ball game. Reaction from the clubhouse and what hopefully is a 3rd straight win over these Rockies. Brad Ziegler warming up in the Diamondback bullpen, trying to get him a pad run or 2. thumbs up pretty quickly. He didn't need a whole lot of time back there. Ahmed trying to bunt for a base hit, and that's a beauty. Just gorgeous.
He is so good at that. That's his 5th bunt base hit this season. Waits till late in the delivery before he shows bunt. He puts it on that third base side, keeps it away from the pitcher. Arenado can only come in and pick it up and check the runner going from second to third base.
Absolutely textbook. So here's last night's walk-off hero, Cliff Pennington. Saltalamacchia is at third, Ahmed at first. One away for Penny, who's at 228 with 7 RBIs. A pair of hits, including the RBI single that tied the game last night, then the fly ball that produced the walk-off winner. And he has really had a productive bat lately. 10 for his last 22 at the plate. He drops one down up the first base line. Rosario's got no play, and he throws it away. Salty scores. Here comes Ahmed. They're waving him home, and he's going to score. And Pennington's in at third. Three Diamondbacks, and Bob Brenly, you know what that means.
Oh, do I ever? Yeah. Tacos, thanks to a little small ball tonight. How about that?
A bunt triple. No, it's a single. And the error on Rosario, who should have just put that one in his back pocket, or at least maybe try to flip back to the plate. It's a hit for Pennington. He's at third. 6-3 Diamondbacks, and here's Pollock. The infield is in with 1 out. Strike one.
Right, Penny too waits till very late in the delivery before showing bunt. That catches the Rockies off guard. What about catching them off guard? Look at the right fielder in your picture, way back there, just kind of standing watching the action. Brandon Barnes caught spectating that time. There's always somewhere to go on every play. Nobody backing up that play at first base.
Canely ahead 0-2. That look says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. The end of a long road trip here in Arizona. The Rockies played 10 games on the road. Or will have played 10 after tomorrow.
Rosario will run out of room here. The Rockies are finishing up a 10-day, 10-game road trip, and they're just 2-6. About to be 2-7.
Yeah, you see Brandon Barnes out there in right field, just kind of standing and watching the play. Canely watching the play at home plate. Nobody there to cover first base. LeMahieu has to run that ball down the right field line. Eventually Barnes realizes what's going on, but by then Penny's on third base and 2 runs have scored.
And big credit to Andy Green down there at third. He was looking, Bob, at the same thing you saw. Nobody over there in the right field corner to pick up that baseball. And he waved Ahmed all the way around from first. Rockies lost 2 of 3 in both San Francisco and Oakland on this trip. If this final holds, they'll have lost all 3 games so far in this series, with the finale set for tomorrow. Waves at that one, and that's the strikeout. 2 down.
lot of times on the bunt defense plays, the catcher's directing traffic, and you can see Nick Hundley's pointing at first base the entire time. He's getting ready for a play at the plate, but he realized they weren't going to get the lead runner at home, just get the out at first. But for the Rockies, nobody there to cover the bag.
And here comes Walt Weiss. He's got the lefty Peralta coming up. And he'll take the baseball from Canely. Bottom 8 on Independence Day at 6-3 Diamondbacks. Tempe Marketplace to enter for a chance to win 2 seats on the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express presented by Cox Communications. You'll get round-trip transportation to the D-backs game on July 18th. Also, you'll get to meet A.J. Pollock. He'll be at the store from 10:30 in the morning to 11:30. A big day on July 18th, so stop by the Cox Solution Store at Tempe Marketplace. The left-hander Boone Logan on to work to David Peralta, with Cliff Pennington at third and 2 outs. 6-3 Diamondbacks.
Boone Logan, the hard-throwing left-hander. Perhaps not giving David Peralta quite as much trouble as he might have a couple of weeks ago, but now that David has seen some left-handed pitching recently, a little better chance to do battle here against the lefty.
0 for 2. He's walked twice. And the at-bats against left-handers have really been good lately. Very encouraging results. They overload the right-hand side against Peralta. Waves at that one, a ball and a strike. Tulowitzki well over there with second base umpire Jim Reynolds. Diamondbacks with 2 in the first. Rockies entered with 2 in the third to tie it. D-backs 2 in the fourth, and now 2 in the bottom of the 8th. After the Rockies made it a 4-3 ball game in the top half of this inning. Shoots it the other way, a base hit, make it 7-3. RBI for Peralta. Another base hit for David against the left-hand pitcher.
Great approach by David. Pitch working its way away from him, stayed right on it, kept his head down the barrel of the bat, shot that ball into left field. Looking more and more comfortable against lefties every opportunity he gets.
Well, Walt Weiss going to double switch now. There's no way he's going to let his left-hander work to Paul Goldschmidt here. And so more machinations from the Rockies skipper after what we saw last night. Cargo will come in and replace Barnes in right field. We'll sort it all out after this.
Boy, last night the Rockies had some communication issues. Walt Weiss was putting guys in the infield, putting them in the outfield. They were stepping on each other's feet. I'm throwing to you. No, I'm throwing to him. Play in, play back. No, move in. Oh, just all kinds of confusion on the field last night. And this is what we assumed was Walt Weiss asking for an intentional walk. Johan Flande went ahead and delivered the pitch to Cliff Pennington. Upon further consideration and Walt Weiss's explanation, he was trying to position his defense at depth number 4.
Well, they sunk to the bottom, I can tell you that.
Whew.
And he's had a double switch here to bring John Axford in, the hard-throwing closer, just off the DL to face Paul Goldschmidt. The double switch means Stubbs comes out of the ball game. The 25th appearance for Axford, who had a marathon battle, you might remember, with Goldie in that day game at Coors Field last week to close out the ball game. A 10 or 12 pitch at bat, back and forth they went. So it's Axford on the mound. Brandon Barnes moves from right field over to left as Drew Stubbs comes out of the ball game, and Carlos Gonzalez checks in. He'll play right field and bat 9th. Pitcher spot now 6th in the Rockies order. A 3-run Diamondback 8th. They lead at 7-3. 2 outs. Peralta at first, and here's Goldie. Goldie walked in the first. He's 0 for 3. Brad Zucker has been ready down there for a long time. Oliver Perez was throwing earlier. And with a 4-run lead, maybe you think about bringing him in. Ziegler hasn't worked in a while, though. No, check that. He worked last night. One inning, only 6 pitches. Worked a 1-2-3 ninth. Quiet night for Goldie. Had an RBI double in the first inning last night. Was on base 3 times. On base 3 times Thursday in the series opener. 2 singles and a walk. But 0 for 3 tonight. So Moss would be next. Two and 1. Back to the mound. That ends the inning, but the Diamondbacks get 3. We go to the 9th. It's 7-3 D-backs. Ziegler coming in.
Fox Gig Life high-speed highlights. The Bob Brenly Hecklers Club. Not much to complain about tonight. 7-3 Diamondbacks, and Brad Ziegler is on to shut the door. His 37th appearance of the year, a 1.29 ERA. Nick Hundley, Brandon Barnes, and Carlos Gonzalez scheduled up in the Colorado ninth. Diamondbacks have already won 7 of 10 versus the Rockies this year, including 4 of 5 here at Chase Field. And trying to take the first 3 games of this 4-game series. Hundley tripled in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. That's a fair ball. Jake Lamb third. Long throw. Backhand scoop by Goldie on the short hop.
Well, this has got E5 written all over it. Spikes that throw across the diamond. Fortunately, it hit far enough out in front of Paul Goldschmidt. He was able to read that long hop and make a nice pick at first.
1 away for Barnes. Singleton scored in the 3rd. 1 for 3. Another strike 1 from Brad.
Partner, things that make you go,
What do you got?
Brandon Barnes has had 3 at bats against Brad Ziegler. He's 3 for 3 with a single, a homer, and a triple.
Ownage. Well, Brad's due.
Yeah, there you go.
1 and 2.
I mean, I can see Brad giving up some base hits, but nobody ever hits the ball in the air against him. You know, how do you hit a home run?
There you go. Well, as Brandon Webb told us the other day, the guy he couldn't get out was former Rocky Brad Haupt.
Yeah.
Everybody has a Brad Haupt.
Everybody has a guy.
There you go.
Take that.
2 down. It's up to Cargo. Diamondback Live postgame show follows our ball game. D-backs trying to make it 3 in a row. Get back within 1 of 500. 42,000 plus on their feet on Independence Day in downtown Phoenix. Carlos Gonzalez. Oh, bouncer into the shift. Lamb has it, and the Diamondbacks win it. D-backs have won 3 in a row, and at the midway mark of the season, Bob Brenly, this is game 81. We are halfway through. They're 40 and 41.
Well, once again, trying to get back to that 500 mark tomorrow against this Rockies ball club that is just staggering to the finish line here at the end of this 10-game road trip.
Diamondbacks have now won 8 of 11 versus Colorado this year. 5 of 6 here at Chase Field. They can go for the 4-game sweep tomorrow. That would put them at 500 on the season. Let's start Diamondback Live. Todd Walsh, happy 4th, my friend.
You too. Thank you very much, Steve and Bob. Bob Brenly, stick around.